Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But it comes at a price. Samantha Horwitz and John Salerno work with police departments across the country to bring valuable recovery, insight resources, and workshops. A Badge of Honor TV brings those professionals to you so we can come together and revitalize communities through a better understanding of what's at stake and what's required for repair. So take a load off and turn up your TV. It's about to get real.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. We are in 2026. We got 2025 behind us, and we are ready for a brand new season. Welcome, Sam. How are you?
Hey, John. It is season 3. Can you believe it?
Yeah, it is flying by, but man, the information that we are providing and getting from all of our resources and friends and family out there is amazing, and 2026 is going to be bigger and better than ever.
And you know what? We're starting 2026, the show off with, first of all, thank you to OBBM Network. I think we'll be having some new graphics or something coming soon. But we have a live comment stream that is now part of the show. So if you are watching and you're able, it'll come up where you can put in a question or a comment live. Please feel free to do so, and we can ask your questions on the air to our guests, or if you have questions for us. This is exciting stuff, and there's one more thing coming. John, a little birdie told me that we might be able to go live through our website soon.
Ooh. Well, yeah. Like I said, I am not tech savvy, but if all I have to do is push a button, I'm in for it. I'm good.
There we go. There we go. It is going to be great this year. So as always, we appreciate you joining us. And we kicked off the new year. There was no holiday. We did not go through a holiday weekend here because first responders, we don't get to punch out, right? We're always on, even when we're off. We're always on, but for those men and women that really work hard and are very dedicated, we were asked to come do some workshops, private workshops for fire department, and we just completed the first of 3 with them just this past Friday. Yes. And we were talking after the workshop about some differences that we noticed, John, and you want to highlight those.
Yeah, first off, before we get into that real quick, I just want to read some of the statistics. First Help and the Officer Down page, they are been so great in gathering statistical data through our law enforcement, for our law enforcement. And some were a little underreported, but this year, 2025, we had 113 suicides in 2025 in law enforcement. That is significantly down from last year when we had about 160. Officers killed by gunfire is 44. So we are still more than halfway. We are still double taking our own lives than criminals taking our lives. But we are making a significant difference. And I want to thank not only our podcast and our TV, but everybody else that it shares the awareness, brings up the awareness, and provides resources for our first responders. Because if these numbers are correct, our voices are making a difference throughout the country. So I commend everybody who is raising awareness for our law enforcement, first responders, and our veterans.
100%.
Yeah. But as for the fire department, I noticed a lot of differences when we do our law enforcement and when we do our fire department brothers and sisters. The way they handle their stress management is a little different. And as long as it works, it's okay. The fire department uses a lot of ridicule, a lot of joking around, a lot of harsh, badgering back and forth, and dark humor. It works for them because they're a family under one roof. You usually have 12 or 15 guys under one roof, and they're gonna banter. They're gonna banter like brothers and sisters in that roof, and that works for them. Law enforcement may be a little bit different. They're a little bit more straightforward, But I want to tell everybody, there's no right or wrong answer. If it works for you, if you are getting the healing processes absorbed into your brain and it's working, anything you do is okay, as long as it's not drugs or an addiction. But if you are talking it out in any way possible, it's okay as long as it's working and it's bringing down that stress level.
100%. And John, you and I and the rest of the team, and we have to welcome Pam Berrigan, United States Coast Guard veteran, to the team. She is an amazing presenter, and we always talk about it's not one size fits all. And our guests tonight, they're from an incredible organization that looks at post-traumatic stress the same way we do. It's an injury, and when you have multiple injuries over time, like if you played sports like I did, you got messed up shoulders, you got messed up knees, you got messed up ankles. Maybe you rehabbed it and got back on the field, but you may be feeling things down the line because you never fully took care of it. The body, the human brain, things may start creeping up, and so left unresolved, it can feel like a mountain that you have to climb to get better. And the team at Operation Angel Wing is just really has distilled down what the veteran and first responder brain absolutely needs. And we're not going to steal their thunder. They're going to tell us all about their programming. So without further ado, we got Mary, Zeke, and Corey from Operation Angel Wing. Welcome. I'll say
guys.
welcome back, guys.
Welcome, guys and girls. Yes.
Good to be here. Thank you.
We had you all on season 2, episode 25. So Mary and Corey got to share their background. So, for time, we're going to jump right to Zeke, who has joined us this time. So if you want to find out more about Mary and Corey, you got to go watch episode 25, which you'll want to do after today, because we'll be tying things in a nice, neat bow after tonight. So Zeke, tell everybody watching and listening on their favorite podcast a little bit about you and your background.
Well, Sam, John, thank you so much for having me. I've got some feedback here. Are you guys hearing that?
A little bit. Yeah. Just turn your volume down. It'll be all be good.
Okay, I'm sure it's probably what's going on. Anyway, so I would rather go on about Corey and Mary because their backgrounds are amazing, but what I'll do is give you just a quick rundown of what brought me, the road that brought me here with these two amazing people. So I retired from Army Special Operations in 2013. I was in 20th Special Forces, which is National Guard component, SF, with tours to Iraq and Afghanistan and just all around the globe in the war on terrorism. But then also stepped back into my civilian career in federal law enforcement, which I'm finishing up this year. I'll be retiring about midway through this year from about 25 years in law enforcement. So
thank you for both services.
Congratulations. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I do. But the commonality here is that when I retired from the Army in 2013, I was kind of in a bad place, and a lot of my brothers were in bad places. And as I realized that I was going to have to lay down the gun, I definitely was not ready to just get out of the fight. And so I really started looking and trying to figure out. It dawned on me largely during some time I spent at Walter Reed with one of my dearest friends who lost his leg in Afghanistan, that I had to try to find a way to have an impact on what happens on the other side of the battlefield with both the service member and the families behind closed door, that battle that rages beyond it. And it wasn't long after that I came across Mary, and we created Operation Angel Wing. She had this in mind. She's very patriotic, the daughter of a World War II veteran with a lot of skills, amazing skills. And we picked up Corey along the way, and here we are more than a decade later, 12 years of being on the front lines with exactly what we're talking about tonight. So that's the short and quick of what got me here. So we'll go from there.
I just want to just piggyback a little bit off what you said. You did your tours in Afghanistan, and you have a stellar career. But to all those other veterans out there that may be feeling that, hey, I didn't do anything in Afghanistan, or I didn't do anything in the war on terrorism. You know, just being in the service itself, being deployed or being away from home, that alone has a impact on your mental health. Okay, when you are at the ready for 24/7, you are on the ready to go. Even though you didn't combat, you didn't fight, or you didn't go out there, that's okay. You still made a difference, and you still can be impacted by post-traumatic stress. So please don't ever fear that if you didn't go over there, that you don't deserve it. You do. You are enough, and you do.
100%. 100%.
Well said, John.
Yeah, very, very well said, partner there. And, you know, we will talk about that. We got to take our first break and thank one of the amazing companies that we're partnered with. They're called Patriot Mobile. So give me a second here, because, you know, we're talking about Patriots, right? So we have to talk about Patriot Mobile, because with Patriot Mobile, now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Our votes are not enough. And at Patriot Mobile, they not only share our belief, but they also do something about it. They're America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier, and they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations just like ours that fight for causes you care about. So switch to Patriot Mobile now and get 1 free month with promo code BADGE. Go to patriotmobile.com/badge or call 972-PATRIOT. And when they answer, you'll be able to understand them as well. Just say, hey, I'm calling and I'm using promo code BADGE. Take advantage of your free month. When was the last time you had a free month of mobile service? Never, until Patriot Mobile came along. So again, 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code BADGE or patriotmobile.com/badge and grab your free month of service. And now we are going back to the show with Patriots and True Warriors, Mary, Corey, and Zeke from Operation Angel Wing. John, you kind of left us with a cliffhanger of an incredible insight, because Zeke, Mary, and Corey, I think there is a misunderstanding or a feeling that may not resonate the same. Deployed versus not deployed. We saw it with 9/11, a lot of first responders that didn't get to go to ground zero. The same kind of, I don't know if it's, certainly if people are injured or you're in your unit, survivor's guilt, you know, we know what that is. But just the act of being deployed, being in an active war zone, but maybe not going outside the wire, so to speak. And I know that you guys come across this in your programs. Can you, whoever wants to start, can you kind of touch on, well, Corey, you had the most experience seeing a lot of this before you even moved out of serving. Is it right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So can you maybe comment on that?
Yeah. So, you know, I interact with a lot of veterans, you know, obviously, and even when I was serving, and a lot of times you'll hear them say, well, oh my gosh, you did 32 years. I just did 4 years, or I just did 8 years. And my response to them is, please don't say just. Please remove that just out, because by raising your right hand and, you know, taking an oath and swearing to, you know, support, defend, and potentially die for a document that most Americans haven't read, you've already done more than your part in service to this country. So let's start with that. And then yes, and I suffered with that too. Before I, you know, went through the 6-week protocol with Mary and Zeke, and they recognized it, because I did deploy, but I was a logistics person. So did I go outside of the wire? Yes, but my job was providing the commodities and supplies to those warfighters. I was, you know, and so I would use language like, yeah, I deployed, but I'm not a combat veteran. even though I was right because I was a father or whatever. And so I felt that, but I see it differently now. And so I don't know what to label that, if there is a label for it. For me, it's probably some imposter syndrome. But you know, but yeah, I think that's actually a valid point, John,
The
and
way I
something
look at
that we
things,
do
and
interact with a lot.
Corey, you know, you are a combat vet. If you went outside the wire, you were in the combat zone. So your mental mindset was that at any given moment, they didn't say, well, there's a logistics officer, we're not going to blow her up. You know, or, you know,
That's right.
you know, so what I feel with our first responders and our veterans, when we take that oath,
Mhm.
and like you said, we're willing to lay down our lives for a stranger, right there is a mental impact that no
Yes.
other, really no other employment, service, job, career, whatever you want to talk about. When you leave your family at home, your mental mindset is, I can be killed and never see my family again. Right there is an impact. It's such an impact that, you know, most stockbrokers don't have to deal with every day, or bankers or lawyers. They don't have to deal with that every day.
Right.
This is on
Right.
the mindset of every veteran and first responder, because it's soaked in to get home safe. And, you know, we don't know if it will ever happen. And
John,
there's an injury.
Can I weigh in on that
Yes.
real quick, John?
Sure.
So you guys are all over this, and what I would say about this is that this spans the entire spectrum. It spans every job in every service. It spans every demographic of veterans. In the times that we're living in, there's a much bigger picture to be talked about. I mean, you can go back to the debacle of a withdrawal from Afghanistan,
Yeah.
and that ripped the scabs off the wounds for the Vietnam vets, because they were
Yep.
experiencing the same. Yes, I'll watch my language, Sam, I promise. The same stuff that in many ways that they went through. So this is a huge issue, and it speaks to, we have to have a discussion about the state that we're in. We just have to have a discussion about the current state and what that big picture really truly is. These are very uncertain times, economically, socially, politically, the full works. And the truth is that this country is facing a mental health. It's a collapse. It's not even a crisis. It's
Right.
unlike anything that we've ever even really seen before. I mean, we deal with so much anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. And despite the technology, despite all the efforts and the tools and the apps and the things that are out there getting thrown at this, something very deep is missing. It's not touching the root cause. And I mean, I can speak to this from over a decade of going head on with first responders, with veterans, with military service members, and anybody, their families, their communities. We work with all of that. And it is pervasive, and it's ubiquitous. It's across the board. And we've never experienced the depth to which this runs in this country right now. And I'm glad that you brought up that the stats are a little better right now currently this year. But the truth is, they're absolutely horrible still yet. There's no excuse. Every time
Right.
a police officer, a firefighter, every time a veteran or a service member takes their life, we're failing. We got to fix that. We have to step in and do that. I have two sons in the military, and both of them have experienced, one in the Navy, one in the Army. Both of them have experienced multiple suicides. My son in the Army, one happened beside him at basic training. The kid jumped off a roof and hit the ground beside him. I mean, this stuff is unbelievable. So that's where we have to, I think, move into is a discussion about the true state of things, that all our service members, first responders, that everyone is trying to navigate right now. And then, you know, what are we truly going to do about it? What really works to, you know,
well, you all, like us, you know, that are in it with these folks, it takes you know, on your website, we've all always heard the phrase, it takes a village, right? But it does take a nation, and we are going to have to come together, call it grassroots, the nonprofit community, whatever you want to call us, to really recognize that and recognize not only the social stigma that still exists, but the unrecognized asks that they just keep getting swept under the rug. It seems, and we have to keep shedding light on them. And when we come back from our next break, hey, sorry, don't fight, puppies, no. That's what happens when you do a show from home.
That's the way Mary and Corey talk to me.
You're scaring me. Don't be mean to each other. When we come back from our next break, we are going to talk about your programming. Mary, we'll go a little bit deeper into it again. We touched on it. It's season 2, episode 25, but let's go a little deeper because you are also touching on something called deciphering the defender's moral code. And it has to do with moral injury. And we need to touch on that as well. But first, we are going to take a quick break and we will be right back with you. Stay tuned, everybody.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam and our wonderful guests, Corey, Zeke, and Mary with Operation Angel Wing. Welcome back, guys. When we left, we were talking about, moral injuries. We were talking about different ways our brains are injured just by raising our right hand and taking an oath, and how it affects each person a little individually, but the help is out there. And Mary, I know you were going to talk about some amazing programs that Operation Angel Wings has for our veterans.
Absolutely, and this is an exciting conversation to have, because when you take the at-risk demographics and high-risk demographics like public safety services, which have fire, police, and medic in it, then you have to take the military. For the first responder community, like on my part, I was trained to save lives. I was trained to save lives, but and military is trained to kill and protect to save lives. Law enforcement protect community to save lives. But what we were trained is to not respond with any emotional temperature. So I was trained, and I know that, I'm assuming that based on my partners here, but I was trained that, if I got into my emotions, I could risk a life, and that was not acceptable. So, but the truth, as I go through all that training and I default to my training, and out of all of my calls that I run, I may only have one save and so many losses. And that information is coming in, and it's the same for law enforcement. It's the same for military when they're in combat. That information is encoding so fast that if it's not interrupted, it's going to embed and then it's going to come back. So the modalities that we've created in Angel Wing are really steeped heavily in NLP, because it's the science that will support it. If we have a modality, and it doesn't meet the science or match the science of healing of the body, we don't use it. I mean, because there's a ton of different types of therapies out there that we could, get into, but it doesn't mean that they're therapeutic. Not everything is therapeutic. And in order for something to heal, it needs to be therapeutic. In other words, controlled bleeding, we'll put pressure on it, but that's only the intervention stage of it. It's going to take another action to heal. And that's the way our brain works. So everything that we've done based on the way that we receive that information, we need to come in and follow those breadcrumbs back out, meaning that we need to attack whatever modalities we use. We need to attack trauma quick, fast, and furious, not long, prolonged, drawn out in sessions where you're setting for an hour once a month. For trauma and for the injury of trauma, that is not therapeutic. Your brain is going to you're getting an hour's worth of information. It's going to lead to delete it, generalize it, and kick it out before you get to another session. You also don't need to pull it out for 12 weeks or 3 months. And that's why we have the 6-week protocol that we offer. It'll take you from the interventional part of it, or even post-interventional, and get you through the root cause and then out the back end in 6 weeks to post-traumatic growth. And we did our own internal studies for years, and we followed 20 of our top that ranked our highest trauma clients, and we followed them for 2 years. So it wasn't a 6-week study, it wasn't an 8-week study, and it wasn't with 5 or 10, it was with 20. And that study finished out with a 96% success rate on alleviating suicidal ideation and moving those numbers down for post-traumatic stress into manageable, like taking them from the high numbers, 60s, 70s, 80s, down into, where they're almost, it didn't exist. Some of them at 50, some 60, to where, and then when that happens, you're in a really good spot to continue to rebuild. I hate to say post-traumatic growth because it's really a rebuild phase. If we have gotten our clients to where we've resolved those injuries and we've healed those injuries, they should be like on the starting line to rebuild that life instead of trying to manage something. And if we're managing it, it's still existing, right? So when the management tools leave, then that stuff is going to come back up.
Well, Mary, I just want to reiterate what you're saying, because it ties into what Zeke was talking about, where that root cause is. Now, you guys are a lot smarter than myself. I'll tell you that right now. And has anybody done a study on either a veteran or a first responder that followed their mental health from the academy or from boot camp all the way through their career, be it 4 or 6 or 8 years or even 30 years, right? Because I think we're hitting mental health a little too late, right? We have got compacted trauma from years of working in this career. So we're trying to clean up a mess. We're trying to clean up a 20 or 30 year mess in 6 or 7 weeks. And that's what makes it so difficult. But if we, like airline pilots, they go through a decompression or a mental health briefing every 3 months. Air traffic controllers do the same thing. Every 3 months, they go see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and they get to talk out some of their near misses or deals. We don't do that in the veteran or the first responder community. And I think if we track that, if we take care of their mental health from the beginning, I think we will see culturally and later on down the generations, we will see less mental health issues. You agree, disagree?
I do. I agree. And this is why. So when we talk about generational traumas and then it's compacted by service-related traumas, that makes the trauma complex. And when you're dealing with complex trauma, that's that high end that I'm talking about. And a lot of that has to do with, like, and we'll just use myself as an example. Like, I wanted to serve and I knew I wanted to pay forward because I survived a lot of horrific stuff in life. I'm trying to keep that language clean. So, so we, and going into service, I thought I was ready for that, right? And I knew I was ready to serve, but I was not prepared to serve. And there's a big difference there. So I had a lot of pre-service trauma, a lot of things that, that was actually causing and driving me to service. But again, I wasn't prepared for it. And so what we do is we go in and a lot of that root cause is rooted around the pre-service traumas. That's who we were before we put on a uniform, before we took the oath to serve in whatever affiliation we served in. That's what we took into service with us. When our service is where we thrived, now we are processing traumas and it's becoming very complex. So in transition, that's where it's going to hit us. And that's what we try. That's the proactive sweet spot that we try to live in. We try to make sure that we're preparing for that transition out, right? Everything is for that next chapter that we're going to face, right? Because the story is still being written when we're serving.
You're all veterans. You're all veterans. Did any of you guys get a transition out, or you're like, okay, your service is done, see ya?
I'm going to let Corey take this one. Corey, I want you to take this one because Corey was overseeing some of this when they would see that there would be failure to thrives, and they were sinking thousands of dollars into new recruits, and then they were being psyched out, and they haven't even seen combat yet.
Yeah, before we're going to leave folks on a cliffhanger again. Corey, we'll come back from our break here and talk about that, because it is really important to understand that failure to thrive, and it's fascinating, but it's also like ouch. So stay tuned, everybody, because we're talking about some coffee. And East Texas Legends Coffee Company, founded by Ben and Amanda Holmes, reflects their journey from Ben's Marine Corps service and law enforcement career, overcoming post-traumatic stress to finding purpose in ranching. Relocating to an East Texas ranch, they identified a need for a local coffee brand. Now they're opening their first coffee shop in Lindale, Texas, rooted in faith, family, and community. Their mission: inspire purposeful conversations over coffee. So drink coffee, be legendary. Go to etxlegendscoffee.com. Use promo code BADGE for 15% off all coffee and amazing merchandise, because life is too short to be ordinary. Go be legendary. Again, get your coffee 15% off with promo code BADGE, etxlegendscoffee.com. John and I, we have ours right here, so cheers.
And I got great swag.
Thank you, Ben and Amanda. They were also on TV show season 2, so you can hear Ben's amazing journey and how they found coffee together. So, Corey.
Transition. I mean, obviously, there's transition. Mary talked about the pre-service trauma that you see in the initial entry training of our soldiers, and so that's kind of really where Mary and Zeke and I met was that topic alone, because what I was seeing was failure to adapt discharges. And when I would read the packets before signing the discharge, and there were hundreds of them, I was noticing that it really wasn't a failure to adapt. It was trauma. It was pre-service trauma. And they were probably coming to us to get in where they could fit in and fill that void. So I classified it as, for me in my mind, I just would say that, failure to adapt discharge is a lack of leadership. It's a leadership failure, because it's our job to help these people, help people that want to serve to adapt. And that's created a whole lot of conversation. On the tail end of the career, you've got a number of different categories. You got people that just ETS out and, they decide this isn't for them anymore. You have those that are involuntarily separated, whether it be medically or disciplinary, whatever the case may be. And we tie a lot of our identity into what we do, what we are, and what we wear, right? And so when it's an unplanned event, that starts compounding trauma with loss of purpose, loss of identity, and so that's an at-risk area. And then when you have people like me, they just get old in the tooth and it's time to retire. It's a planned event. But I'm seeing people in my category that struggle with that transition as well. So and that's an area where we actually reach out. We've got a number of coaches that are transitioning out of service and retired, and they're seeing Operation Angel Wing as a way to continue to serve the soldiers and veterans and the communities and give back to the world, which is what they wanted to do to begin with in the National Guard in our case. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's.
No, it did. But you brought up another question. Because,
well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, no, you brought up another question because, all right, so you look at the paperwork before they transition out. Now, we all know, you know it, every first responder knows it, every veteran knows it. How you doing? I'm fine, right?
Good.
Because we're leaving. Is anybody doing post follow-ups 3, 6 months, a year after of discharge going, hey, just calling in and checking in or doing check-ins? Because now they're feeling that stress. They're feeling that identity loss. At the very end of their career, they're just like, okay, I'm fine. See you later. I'm out the door. But no one's doing those check-ins.
Yes.
Unless they wind up at the VA.
So, no, you're
right. Unless they come for help.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's such a good point. And
but not everybody qualifies for that either. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. John, you guys are all over this with your recognition of like the deeper factors here. And I would say that a great percentage, in fact, I know a great percentage of the people that we work with that are really off the rails, talking suicidal ideation or on the edge. And we work with a lot of people like that. A super high percentage of them have significant pre-service trauma. So now you start to put this bigger picture together where, if you think about it, kids that go through stuff and wind up losing that sense of safety, if they don't wind up in juvie or in jail, a lot of times they gravitate towards service because there is that sense of camaraderie. There is that safety. There is that security within that group. So a lot of times you'll have people coming in that have these. And you asked the question, has there ever been a study done and followed through? Actually, we do it all the time because when we take people in, we timeline them. We go all the way back to where they really experienced issues in their life. Because what will happen is that stuff, if it's not resolved, it will compound. And then now your new career, whatever it is, whether it's military, law enforcement, it will continually stack more traumas because you don't step into a job like this without experiencing hard things. It's just the reality. And then at some point, all of it is going to catch up. And it's not a pretty sight. That could be transition. That could be going off the rails in your life with a divorce. It could be a ton of things. But if you don't address that, and actually we can very effectively address that. And I want anybody listening out there to understand that, okay, if you feel like you're the Lone Ranger and you feel like nobody else is going through this, and that you're going off the rails because you're just jacked up and you're just broken, let me stop you right there. You're not. Your body is doing and your brain is doing what it's wired to do. It's just hung on some pretty hard things that will compound that if you don't go in and do the work and resolve this stuff, that it's going to continue to take you off the rails. But the mechanism is there. The work is there. And when you do, now you clear that fog, you clear that obstacle, and you can actually see what should come next in your life where you can't right now. I know you can't, but when you clear that, now you can reconnect to a new purpose, right? And that's where it's at. When you can reconnect to faith and to purpose and move forward beyond this stuff that's been dragging you down like an anchor and taking you into the ditch, then all of a sudden you're back up on the road and you're moving in the right direction. And it is absolutely possible. I don't care how bad you think it is. I promise you it's possible to get there.
Yep.
I just want to get that out there.
100%. I want to leave time on the flip side of this next break that we're going to take to talk about moral injury. It's kind of something that kind of has come up and has been highlighted specifically kind of all through 2025. And it comes from, defenders have a moral code. And when their moral code is violated, it can feel like symptoms of post-traumatic stress, but it is entirely something different. And we need to talk about that. So take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned, everybody.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance you'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. I want to welcome back Corey, Zeke, and Mary with Operation Angel Wing. We are taking a deep dive into post-traumatic injury through about our servicemen and women and our first responders. And it's been a great conversation so far. So when we left, we were going to start talking about the moral injuries that we all are impacted by as well.
So whoever wants to
take the lead on that one.
So I'll kind of lead out on this one. There's a synergy like about the human race. The synergy is mind, body, and spirit. So much of modern psychology leaves the spiritual counseling and the spiritual part out of it. The deciphering the moral code, the offender's moral code, is because what we deal with, we are constantly, our moral aptitudes, there's violations happening all the time, to the point that some of us even walk away from faith, lose our faith, abandon faith in the practice of, then that spirals, because you have to have, when we talk a lot about the sciences, that's how the body heals. That's what we're looking at, is the body's own mechanisms to heal itself, which we have. But there is the other part that is spiritual, and that's why we are a faith-based organization and maintain that from when we stepped out of the gate. Because it was the part through all of my career that I noticed was missing. And John, you were mentioning debriefings. Like, we had those all the time through search and rescue, and I would skip out because it was so technical. I was trying to process emotions and feelings about what I had seen and who I'd seen and what losses we had. And they were talking about how we could do it better as far as the training and tight wire and a ton of other training things, right? So it never was everything in one place. So it wasn't where we could actually, you could work on the mind where these memories are stored and the experiences are stored. And then you could also work on the spirit and the soul, which is what makes us, we're not biological creatures. We're spiritual beings. I mean, that's what moves us. That's what moves us to be the humanitarians that we are. So when we keep taking rounds against our moral aptitude, whatever that might be for each individual, it's taking you out. You can fix that brain, you can fix that injury all day long, but you have to have it working laterally together on the same trajectory in order to heal. And that's why in that protocol that we keep referring to, the 6-week protocol, it fully incorporates and integrates all of that spiritual counseling and spiritual well-being along with the physical and mental part of it. And kind of a unicorn in this industry, because it's not unethical for us. We're like grassroots movements. We're there because we can have a higher impact of success there than we can just being another part of the cookie cutter industry or modern psychiatry industry. And we don't want to get started there because there's a
That's a big reason why people are coming to you, because of that modern seem, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah. So, but it's the thing that, I mean, and Corey and Zeke can chime in anytime they like here, but it's when I went through so much, I mean, through the stuff I survived in my personal life, of course, I had walked away from faith, and then I was trying to really get into being reconnected to it, and I brought that into my service, and I was relying on it, and there were things missing there that was going to keep me whole and keep me running, and the next thing that I'm doing in the middle of my service is I am now questioning God again, and faith again, and my whole spirituality is being challenged again. So it was like I was in a constant spiritual warfare all the time, and until I realized how I can do that, and how I can share, and we can build programs, and we can teach others how to heal, how to carry their moral aptitude, and how to repair it. And when I say that as an aptitude, because it's different for each of us. And it may be just difference as far as like the religious belief, like I'm Catholic, mine's going to be a little different than a Protestant, right? I'm going to be actually scrutinized a little more than a Protestant because I'm Catholic. Is that right, Corey? So Corey's Catholic too,
Okay,
so.
you went there.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole big point with moral injury is that it's not. First of all, it is not PTS. It is something different, and that it doesn't matter if you're serving on the front lines or in the military or first responder, based upon, and we can trace it back to the way you grew up, your belief structure. Mm-hmm. You're gonna be right up against that moral injury if you choose this career. And we're not saying don't choose the career. It's be prepared, and that is, we have spent so many years pushing that spiritual side away, and being all logical, I'll call it all book, textbook focused, all tactical focused. Yes. And we need to understand that sometimes we hurt because it's a violation of our personal moral code. Whether it was the way our partner handled a call, or whether it was our sergeant or somebody else telling us, you go do this. Well, I can't, right? I mean, we've all seen the movies about it, and the stories in the movies aside, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
The violation of our moral code is the difference between what we think and what we feel. And those are two different things. But they will get entangled when it comes to trauma and the injury of trauma. They will get all entangled. And when we become this big mess of not being able to sort through what is appropriate for us as an individual to feel, what should we be thinking? And I often say this when I do the neurobiology and talking about the healing and the science of the brain and how to heal, I'll then bring it back to that human level and that basic human level and the spirituality of it, is that we are constantly trying to think our way out of something we should be feeling our way through. And we forget how to do that through service. And it doesn't help that we're trained not to do that. So, this is why we create the programs, and that's why we have that program it's under our Safe Haven project, and that is deciphering the Defender's Moral Code. It's a very individual walk.
Yeah. So I just put up your website. So for everybody watching and listening on their favorite podcast app, it's operationangelwing.org. And I could go on there and see all of the programming. And then do you all have how do people reach you to register for a course or to just get help?
A lot of times they'll reach out through LinkedIn or our social media platform, Facebook, or sometimes it's on our website. The main email for the organization, if it's any detailed information they need, they can email there for serious inquiries about it.
Okay, so you got the website, and then Facebook, your Operation Angel Wing, LinkedIn, same, and Instagram, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So everybody, no matter where you're watching, if you're watching on one of those platforms, you can connect with Mary, Corey, and Zeke over there. And do not be a stranger to this organization. If you are part of our warrior class, you deserve the best and to take care of you so that you can continue to serve wherever you are now in your life, whether that's with your family as mom, dad, uncle, aunt, brother, sister, however, we want to get you back to your best. And that's where Operation Angel Wing has done phenomenal things with and programmings with our warriors. So we thank you guys so much for coming on. Zeke, thanks for joining this time.
Thank you guys so much. This was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it is something that we share in common as both being Carry the Load nonprofit partners. And it speaks volumes when you have an organization like Carry the Load that's been in existence for a lot longer than us, that we can all come together. And like I said, doesn't take a village. It's, Mary, you said it best on the website. It takes a nation. And Zeke, you kind of tied it all in and put it in a package with a bow on it, that we need to recognize what is going on in our nation, distill down and come up with the fixes for what we see. It's not one size fits all, folks. So check out Operation Angel Wing.
Thank you guys so much. What you guys are doing is everything here. It's so important because we have to change the culture and the approach around this whole situation. Yeah. And this is how we do it, thanks to you guys. So just know that you're very appreciated.
Thank you. So are you. We all do this together. This is one big team. And, we said it before about grassroots and nonprofits. If it wasn't for all these men and women who run these nonprofits and are out there still doing the fight for our veterans and our first responders, where would we be today? So Thank God for everyone who's putting that effort in and putting the time in to really help our heroes on every level. Because if you weren't out there, the government's not doing it right. And, we got to be there to back up our brothers and sisters. So thank you as well.
Amen.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
We will definitely be in touch.
Sounds good, guys.
All right.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. See you soon. Bye. Wow, it is always a special time to be able to share almost an hour with Mary and Corey and now Zeke.
Yeah.
The impact that they're having and the numbers. Statistics don't lie when you do the research. And that's why, we dove into working with University of Arizona with the stuff that we're doing to get some great numbers that can show that we're making a difference. Hey, we, John and I started the show talking about the amazing guys that we work with the fire department. If you are a department that is in need, you want an outside organization to come in and talk about the stuff that we talked about tonight. Why post-traumatic stress is an injury, what happens when those injuries compound, and how to get yourself back on the rails. Like Zeke said, we don't want you off the rails, we want you on the rails. And so just reach out to us at abadgeofhonor.org. You will see Operation Angel Wings logo on our website under our partners and resources. So you can scroll down and find them through our website as well. And highly encourage everybody to take a look at the website, whatever speaks to you. Again, it's not one size fits all when it comes to healing trauma. And so if you need our assistance, if you require our assistance, whether it's in the peer support training mode or you want us to come in and work with the different shifts or put together a class, we can definitely do that for you. And, if you are part of an organization, a nonprofit that makes a difference for our warrior class, for our men and women who serve, who are veterans and who wear a badge of any kind of first responder, and you want to be a guest, you would like to be highlighted, contact us through abadgeofhonor.org and we'll make contact with you and have a conversation, because John and I, we've been doing this a long time now. It's not about us. It's about getting the organizations, about getting you all out there so that the veterans, first responders, service members, they have a place where they can grab onto something that may work for them. So we invite you to make contact with us. And in April, we'll be having a fundraiser.
Yes.
If you would like to be a sponsor of our fundraiser, please get in contact with us. Again, abadgeofhonor.org. Our contact information's on there. You can just text me and we can go from there. But we are looking for event sponsors. And there's some pretty cool things that if you choose to be a sponsor that we can do for you as well.
It's gonna be a very unique speakeasy murder mystery gambling night. So it's gonna be it's gonna be 3 things in one. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. So be sure to check it out. We're gonna be getting a flyer out soon on that and saving the dates. So be sure to check it out.
Absolutely. That's going to be in April. So it's going to be a lot of fun. To our guests tonight, Operation Angel Wing, thank you so much for coming on. You know, to all of our first responders out there, you have got a gigantic group of prayer warriors. We pray for you every single day. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep serving. Know that you have a community behind you. For all of our veterans, thank you for fighting the good fight that allows me and John to come back for season 3.
That's right.
So, and do what we do. We thank you so much. For our active duty personnel spread out across the globe, thank you, especially coming off what just went down in Venezuela. Thank you for staying in the fight. Thank you for taking your oath seriously. And thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. John, take us home.
Well, I'd be remiss to say, hey, we all made 2026 resolutions to stay physically healthy. Promise me this, that you are going to work on your mental health this year if you're battling, just to make yourself better and regain your faith and your purpose for 2026. That's a great resolution to make. Until next week, peace.
See you, everybody. Take care.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.